ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् शुश्रूषोषद्ददानस्य वासुदेवकथारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात् शृण्वता स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भाव कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदय ग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्ण, 1 second. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 7, text number 30. So Vidura continues to inquire from Maitreya Muni. Okay. So text 30. Yajnasya cha vitanani yogasya cha pata prabho naishkarmyasya cha sankhyasyam tantram va bhagavat smritam. यज्ञस्य च वितानानि योगस्य च पठ प्रभो नैष्कर्म्यस्य च सांख्यस्य तंत्रं वा भगवत् स्मृतम्। यज्ञस्य च वितानानि योगस्य च पठ प्रभो नैष्कर्म्यस्य च सांख्यस्य तंत्रं वा भगवत् स्मृतम्। Yajnasya of sacrifices, cha also, vitanani expansions, yogasya of the mystic powers, cha also, pataha ways, prabho, O my lord, naishkarmyasya of knowledge, cha and sankhyasya of analytical studies, tantram the path of devotional service, va as well as bhagavat in relation with the supreme personality of Godhead, Smritam, regulative principles. Translation. Please also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and the path of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. Purport. The word tantram is significant herein. Sometimes tantram is misunderstood to be black spiritual science of materialistic persons engaged in sense gratification. But here, tantram means the science of devotional service compiled by Srila Narada Muni. One can take advantage of such regulative explanations of the path of devotional service and make progressive advancement in devotional service of the Lord. Sankhya philosophy is the basic principle of acquiring knowledge, as will be explained by the sage Maitreya. The Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Kapila Dev, the son of Devahuti, is the real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. Knowledge not based on Sankhya philosophy is mental speculation and can yield no tangible profit. Okay, so in this section, Vidura continues to inquire further. First, he asked about creation, and when the entire creation description is done, then he starts asking about Virat Rupa, and after asking about Virat Rupa, then he requests how the leader of demigods, Prajapati, Brahma, decided to establish various manus. So basically, creation continues. Prajapatis and Guna avatars. And finally, in 29, he asks about what are the 4 social divisions and orders of human society, their symptoms, behavior, characteristics, mental equilibrium, sense control. So basically, he's asking about Varnashrama Dharma. Now in text 30, he's asking, further inquiries about expansions of different sacrifices, the paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. It's a very interesting question, because we know that Vidura is a pure devotee, and the way he left the palace of Dhritarashtra itself is a proof for that. And he actually, it's mentioned in that particular chapter in first canto that when he left, he he understood that it's a working of internal energy, and external energy and internal energy. Even though the whole insult that was done by Duryodhan and approved by Dhritarashtra was all seemingly karmic, or it seemed like external energy, but then Vidura's understanding was it is by the mercy of internal energy. So then he just moved on. Now, such a person who even before meeting Maitreya Rishi was fixed in devotional service to Krishna, fixed in his affection for Krishna, and did a lot of pilgrimage, and now he has met Maitreya Muni and he has asked multiple different questions. Now his question is about what are different sacrifices and what is the mystic process or powers, and then Sankhya philosophy, and then devotional service. And Prabhupada explains in the purport about the word tantram. We always hear tantram is like black magic, but here Prabhupada means that tantram means the devotional service compiled by Srila Narada Muni. And this, especially here, what I understand from the purport is one can take advantage of such regulative explanations of path of devotional service. Basically, it's sadhana bhakti. With Vaidhi sadhana, there is regulative explanations. So this is like a path for, so the question is very specific from Vidura. It's not about just pure devotional service in its ultimate state. He is asking about why the sadhana bhakti, what is the process of devotional service with its regulative explanations, so that a person who is just from basics or from sakama can move on towards devotional service. That is a very practical question that is intended for us, intended for the practitioners and in this path of bhakti. So that's first thing, is appreciation of the specifics of the question of Vidura. And Prabhupada explains that Sankhya philosophy given by Kapila Dev is the real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. It's very, what do you say? Like in regular Jnana process, there is, Krishna himself tells in 3rd chapter and 5th chapter, mainly 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that the one who understands that this path of Sankhya and the path of Bhakti to be, the goal to be the same, has understood the process very well. So basically, one is to find the root, and then the other is water the root. So the Jnana is to just find the root, really divide and understand the divisions of material elements, the 24 elements, and then further dig into who is the source of this, and then finally ending up that yes, this my Lord Krishna is the source of this, and then bhakti begins in one sense. So here, that's in that perspective, Prabhupada is explaining that this is actually the real source of knowledge. It's also important to understand about matter and spirit both. In Ishopanishad, sections 9 through 11, mantras 9 through 11, the entire section is about the process of knowledge, or identifying or comparative study of avidya and vidya, comparative study of ignorance and knowledge. Knowledge here refers to bhakti. So in that section also, there is much elaboration in Ishopanishad that unless one can see both in parallel, this avidya and vidya, so material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, one probably does not know where to stop with material knowledge and how to proceed with spiritual knowledge. Basically, continue to choose spiritual knowledge depends on our objective understanding of material knowledge or material world. Because if a person, for example, is attached or not attached, attracted to devotional service, significantly attracted to serving the Bhagavatas and Bhagavan, but has not developed or has not seen, even not just developed, has not developed distaste towards this world, that or understood that this world is Dukkalayam Ashashvatam, then what's going to happen is that one may not be able to get a full, one may not able to keep the both feet on the boat of devotional service and keep moving. At the same time, the other side is also true. When one has understanding of devotion, the material world, that it is Dukkalayam Ashashvatam, but there is no path, they don't see the path out of it, then what happens? One only gets frustrated out of this material world. There's not a looking forward to moving on in life for a place which is completely spiritual. So this whole thing about understanding the Sankhya, but at the same time, keeping Krishna in the center is such a very beneficial process of approaching the practice of devotional service. So therefore, Prabhupada here explains that the Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Kapila Dev, the son of Devahuti, is a real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. Knowledge not based on Sankhya philosophy is mental speculation and can yield no tangible profit. This also reminds us of Bhagavad Gita introduction, where Prabhupada says that knowledge, what is that? Philosophy without, there is a sentence, right? Science without,
Philosophy
Religion
without
without philosophy.
Sentiment, right? Sentiment
religion.
without
Religion.
philosophy.
Sentiment.
Yeah, right. Sentiment without philosophy and philosophy without sentiment. Prabhupada brings it up. How nicely Prabhupada puts everything in perspective in different parts of the, books that he has translated. That all comes together now, actually. So the whole point here is the question of Vidura. Even though it looks as if, oh my God, why is he asking all this? Why can't he just directly ask, what did Krishna do? What did Balaram do? Or even, okay, a little bit, what did Vishnu avatars do? We can always, it could provoke that kind of a question. Why is he asking now about analytical study? If he didn't ask, we wouldn't have the rest of the Kapila Dev's pastime. So he asked, therefore, then Maitreya Muni is going to describe and give the entire so many chapters of Kapila Dev, several chapters. So it's very profound to understand or to even see that the actually realized souls ask questions which will increase Krishna Katha for the speaker to speak, and which will also give all aspects of Krishna, so that everybody like us, all the practitioners can actually benefit. Extremely sorry for today's video. Just on my phone, it's like all over the place. Okay. So that's what is happening in this purport, which is really beautiful, how Vidura is asking these questions for the benefit of, humanity, benefit of everybody. So that's where we are, and I'll pause here. If there is anything further to discuss about this verse, that'll be very nice. Something related to Vidura and Maitreya or the subject matter.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisance. I like the point that you said, in order to water the root of the tree, we should know where the root is. And so that is jnana. And so that was very nice and profound. And second thing is, I was thinking when you were talking about Sankhya Yoga and, putting Krishna in the center. So not just understanding the world, but also understanding it in relation to Krishna is actually hope giving. Because otherwise, guess what? Then you will want to negate it. You'll turn perhaps Shunyavada or whatever kind of negation, any different flavors of negation.
Exactly.
So, it's essential to do both so that it gives us an impetus to go there. And I was also remembering our Gita camp, that whole 15th chapter, the reflection and reality. Yes, we can understand the reflection a little bit, but then what's the point, right? So in that we see he is enticing us by telling us the qualities of the real tree. We need both. So we need to understand the reality so that it gives us an impetus to move from where we are. Or rather, I should say the other way, the reflection. When you understand Kali Marna Shashvatam, it gives you an impetus to move, but then you should know where to move to.
Yes.
So,
exactly. Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji. Actually, the point that you're bringing up is in Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter 10th verse, very nice verse, how different philosophies come out, meaning the verse is actually very straightforward, but then Prabhupada's purport is extraordinary. Verse is saying Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmana. So basically he's saying it. So Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. One should give up Raga Bhaya Krodha. Raga is attachment to matter. Bhaya is fear. And then Krodha is anger. So then that's all he says. One who gives up that will be able to surrender to Krishna, surrender to me. And then he says, Yayata mam prapadyante. So he speaks in that connection. But Prabhupada, in that purport, is one of the most excellent purports, 4.10, where Prabhupada actually gives explanations of materialism and then impersonalism and voidism in connection to Raga, Bhaya and Krodha. Basically, he says that one who is very attached to matter or enjoying the matter, they remain to just enjoy, basically just materialism, right? But even if I'm suffering, it's okay, just one life, little bit suffering is okay. I want to just keep trying to enjoy. And then there is bhaya, so that's materialism, absorbed in materialism. And then bhaya is fear. And what is this fear about? Fear about duality. So one has experienced duality in this world. Therefore, one is looking for a non-dual substance as spiritual. Therefore, one enters, or when one wishes to enter into Brahma Jyoti, and so there is impersonalism roots. The whole impersonalism is coming from the bhaya of duality. Okay. And then the next thing Prabhupada explains is about krodha. Krodha is anger or frustration. One is so angry and frustrated with all kinds of philosophies and all kinds of different, different, philosophical paths that this world has, which is so confusing. Everywhere you go, everybody said, this is it, this is it, this is it. So it's like, it's so frustrated. One is so frustrated. Instead of asking for what is real, one only gets frustrated and then gets into voidism. The one says, okay, nothing exists. Everything is bogus. Nothing exists. We have to enter into nothingness. So voidism. That particular purport was very profound because Prabhupada takes it in that extent where one has to understand even fear and anger. Whatever we go through, the direction we look is very, very important. If the direction we look is not very, or one is not sincerely looking for something real, one is going to end up in these philosophies, one of those. So you're sharing about knowing where to look for when we are kind of materially frustrated with this world is so important. That reminded me of that verse. Thank you for sharing, Mother. That was, yeah, so important. Yeah.
Thank you. Very beautiful.
Thank you. Anything else, devotees? Okay. All right. So we will, I guess, continue tomorrow with the next verse. Very interesting verse. Next verse also is very interesting. Very interesting. Because in this verse, he asked about regulative expansions. Next verse is going to ask about, okay, if one doesn't follow it, what kind of results, what kind of imperfections they are going to face? And how does that going to look? That's how he's going to ask. Okay. We'll end here then, unless anybody has anything else. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.